Rock and roll may live forever, but we only retire once. Kevin Lamour of Our Financial Plans and Quadris Investment Services offers a large range of financial solutions from some of the biggest leaders in the investment and insurance landscape of Canada. See how a solid financial plan built with friendly and professional advice can help. Find out more at ourfinancialplans.ca or give them a call at 705-949-1316. Hey folks, and welcome to another episode of the Lonesome Cowboy Podcast. Brian Tremblay here, and I have all the way from Canada's left coast is... I don't even want to. That's what I wanted to ask you. I don't want to pronounce your first name wrong because I have a whole bunch of possibilities. So I have with me
Kele Fleming.
Kele, okay, it's what I thought it was, but watch me. I'll say it, and then she'll go, no.
All good.
I've had that happen too many times with Taras, Laras, and Rochelle's. Not Tara, Lara, and Rochelle.
Right.
Anyway.
Those tricky names.
I tell you. So, what's your story, Kele? How did you get into this music thing? Where did it all start for you?
Oh, that's a big question. I love it. It started way back when I was just a wee mite.
You're just a wee one, were you?
Yeah, just a wee one. A baby singer-songwriter. I just started writing songs and poems when I was a kid, and it kind of morphed into songwriting with a guitar. When I picked up the guitar, I think how old was I? Maybe 12 or 13, I started learning the guitar.
Cool.
And it just carried on from there. So that, my dad played guitar at home and sang. He was one of those people that could just pick anything up by ear. And so I think I was influenced by that quite a bit because there was, singing and playing in the home that I grew up in.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You were recently quoted in The New Yorker. Like, how fancy is that?
It's so wild and random, really. It's so funny.
I was about to say, hey, I have opinions too, New Yorker.
Right?
So tell me all about, how did you end up getting a quote in there?
Yeah, it was the funniest thing. I follow the writer of the article that I was quoted in, Kyle Chayka. He writes a regular article in the New Yorker called Infinite Scroll.
Okay.
And he talks a lot about media and social media and kind of the culture around how we consume media in this day and age. And so he it was on Instagram. He put out an Instagram story asking a question. I can't even remember what the specific question was, but it was something about, how people are coping or not coping with the algorithms on social media. Right. So I replied to his story and I just said, the algos are never in our favor. Yeah. And so he wrote me back and said, I love it. Can I quote you? I was like, yeah, absolutely you can. Yeah. So he did. And it ended up, we ended up having a nice chat on DMs on Instagram, and we were talking about life beyond social media and talking about Patreon and Substack and all kinds of stuff. And yeah, it was kind of a wild experience because then I was on my way to take my dog to the vet for some reason, and I got this call from a fact checker from the New Yorker. It's like, great. Okay, they really do this, and verifying that I was a real person and that I was who I said I was. Yeah. So it's kind of a neat experience. Very
cool. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
That's cool. My only regret is that how come isn't like Maclean's or something calling you? You know what I mean? They should get
I know.
Let's get a Canadian magazine quoting on there.
True enough, for the Globe and Mail or something like that.
Yeah. So you, like myself, have pulled your work off of Spotify. And
yes. Yay, good for you.
Yeah. And I got it off Amazon too.
Awesome. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Number one, I think they got rid of it themselves just because it doesn't do anything, you know? And I went,
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
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 So, and what's your prediction for the future of music and streaming if things don't change? Because I have a dystopian view of it for the music business. I don't know what yours is.
Yeah, and I might answer that question without even really thinking about the business side of it and just focusing on the music side of it,
Sure.
because I feel like music is just something inherent in our existence. It's not going to go away. People are going to keep creating.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's a beautiful and powerful thing. On the business side of things, I don't know. I mean, this sounds really like delusional of me to say, but I kind of just don't even want to think about the business side of things and just create and find an audience, or build and find and build an audience of people who are interested in the sounds and the ideas that I bring together in song. And I think that's, for me, that's where I'd like to see it go for myself and
Hmm.
other people too. And I feel like there are some singer songwriters out there doing that kind of outside of the business machine. One of them is one of my favorite singer songwriters is Jane Siberry. I think she's
Oh, yeah.
just actually on tour right now in the US. But
Ooh,
I know
U.S.
somebody like her, she was I think she's very ahead of her time and was thinking about a creative life outside of the business like a couple of decades ago, before
Hmm.
anybody else was thinking about it. Like she left her record label and set up this whole pay what you can system on her own website before it became popular, through Radiohead doing it, and then things like Bandcamp evolving. And
Yeah,
yeah, so
exactly.
I feel like there are models out there. I feel like local or localized, or and locally connected communities of people who love music, who are going to support their favorite artists.
Yeah. That's something I've struggled with is local community because I mean, we have musicians in town, few and far
Yeah.
between those who are, few and far between for any that are actually out there pursuing. And, sure, we get people that put out a CD, and that's great, but then that's it.
Right.
They put out a CD, they sell, 50 or 100 locally, and then, okay, that's done. Uh,
Yeah.
and I wish we had more folks that were trying to work towards something, and that's the thing that I miss is that in this particular community and so many in the northern Ontario end of things,
Mm.
folks aren't there they're not chasing it. They're just making their music and staying home or deciding, yeah, I'm going to go do this, but they're leaving the community, and
Right.
that's the thing I'd like to see change in that respect. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Is this a full-time gig for you, Kelly?
It is now. I mean, I worked in academia for
Oh yeah,
decades.
cool.
Um, and I tried to make a go of it when I was younger as a full-time musician, and there probably were things I could have done to continue, like working full time as a musician. Like I could have gotten into doing, well, I'm not really a piano player. I was going to say I could do piano bars like my friend Matthew Presidente does, but I'm not a piano player. So I could have done
Cool.
like cover bars or something
Yeah.
like that. But so that was just never really my thing. So Yeah, so I decided that I needed to have some kind of way to make money to support myself because being an indie musician was a hard go then, and it's a hard go now. That's
Yeah.
one thing that stayed the same.
Yeah.
Um, so, I left my other career, my 9 to 5 career, a couple of years ago, and I've been, I'm not able to fully support myself. I'm doing little gig economy things on the
That's
side,
cool.
but
Yeah.
yeah, so full time ish as much as possible. How about you?
Well, yes, I've kind of fallen into this because I'm going to be 64 years old in about a month, and
Yay!
yeah, yay, I made it.
Yay! Right?
I just want my old age security now. And I had jobs. I was a corrections officer for 11 years.
Okay.
I ended that career and became a photographer for 26 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I was beat out by the democratization of the technology,
Mm.
and no longer was a photographer needed anymore, and my business disappeared through no efforts of my own.
Okay.
It just disappeared.
Yeah.
And then, here's a
Yeah.
job, there's a job, but then you find out, guess what? They really don't want to interview you when you're over 60. And there's a big
It's
prejudice
true.
going on. And so I figured, well, back to the gig economy, and away we go. And
Yeah.
doing the best I can. Well,
Oh, that's
yeah.
great for you. I'm going to be 60 this year, so I hear and I experience, the ageism that you're talking about too. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
in the music business, I mean, there's not so much room for are we middle-aged musicians?
Let's hope so.
There- yeah, is that what you call us?
I like middle age at
Um,
this. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I wish it wasn't such a focus on youth. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that.
No.
I love youth and the exuberance and the music that is coming, the real music that's coming forward.
Yeah.
But I like also to make sure that there's room for everybody.
Yeah. So we were talking about music community, and you're in Vancouver. Um, I mean, I'm sure like Toronto, but does Vancouver have a music community, or do they have multiple music communities, being such a big place that it is?
Yeah, I think multiples. I'm in Victoria now and have been like for the last 5 years. And I spent how many years in Vancouver? Probably about 30
Cool.
years in Vancouver. And yeah, I would say multiple music communities. I think there's quite a thriving, I don't know what you call it, hyper pop or
Oh my.
like kind of DJ hyper pop synthwave community happening there now. And there's like a great indie community, electronic music.
That's
Yeah, there
cool.
was, I mean, back in the days when the heydays when I was like fronting an indie band, there was a great indie community there in the 90s.
That's
So
cool. Very good.
yeah, it kind of died for maybe 10 years or so. There was a real kind of the whole scene just kind of went bleh. All the venues kind of shut down. It was a weird time.
Yeah. Yeah. I I'm just gonna make a general statement and kind of just get your take on it in regards
Sure.
to music and when it comes to communities. And then I find that musicians, like, I'm old fashioned. Organize, get together. We're better together. We can push our issues together. I find that
Mhm.
musicians are a resistance to that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, I'll do music together, but I don't want to go out in the public and fight for what's right, kind of thing. Um,
Right.
and I find that weird, that they're a dichotomy in that respect. What's your take? I mean, it seems to be a difficult task to get them together, and I think so much could be
Yeah.
accomplished. Um, you know,
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think I've always been a writer and a creator that is who is talking about current issues and things in my music and
Hmm.
thinking about resistance and social justice when I'm creating. But yeah, I think you're right. There's a real, I don't know if it's dichotomy or there's definitely different approaches.
Hmm.
I would say with listeners too, I think that one of the things I have found throughout my decades of doing this is some people just don't want to listen to what I have to say because I'm like,
Yeah.
they're like, I just want my music to dance to or make me feel good. And it's like, well, my music can make you feel good too,
Yeah.
you
Also,
know. Um, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I'm answering your
no,
question
no,
or
that's cool, man. There's no
uh,
specific answer.
okay. Um, so yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I guess other than like being I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of somebody else who's maybe committed to a particular take on their craft
Yeah,
or
really.
their genre.
Yeah.
It's just really hard for me because I can't separate what is going on in the world from how and what I create.
I
So,
agree. 100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like it's all connected. And if you
Hmm.
are
Yeah,
not
exactly.
connected into it, maybe you're not aware that you actually are creating things that are connected to something, or I don't know.
Yeah. I'm starting to think that this is the beginning of the long slide down.
Hmm.
It's a race to the bottom right now.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I saw in the photography business with the
Okay.
democratization. It was a race to the bottom. Everybody's prices just went boom right to the
Right.
bottom. You know, why did I pay you $1,500 to photograph my wedding when I can have it done for $500? That kind of
Right.
thing. And
Right.
I think the musicians are the same way because we see them jumping, they're crawling over each other for you know a, a pittance to play, or even for free for that matter. And I think it's hard enough that
Yeah.
and they're playing for wages that were paid 35 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you think this is? I don't know. I don't know how sustainable that is. If they just keep giving this goose fraba kind of statement of, "Oh, I'm doing it for the music, man." Yeah, well, that's wonderful too, but yeah, I don't get it completely in that
Yeah. Well,
respect.
yeah, I wonder if those people who are saying things like that are actually going to be still doing it for the music 20 years later, right? Or like,
Yeah, yeah, that's about
you
it.
know, I don't know.
Yeah. So when it comes to songwriting, the old Nashville method, they schedule the darn thing in and they go 9 to 5 and they write songs from Monday to Friday kind of thing. Do you schedule time for your writing, Kelly, or do you just strike when the iron's hot kind of thing?
Yeah, I don't really schedule, but then I'm going to contradict myself in a minute. I'm kind of just like, where's, I don't have it here. It's in the other room. But I have these like writing books that
Yeah.
kind of follow me around. And so I'm writing things down all the time. Yeah, exactly.
The
That's
dollar store.
actually totally.
Yeah.
It's exactly my, I think mine has an octopus on it right
Oh, there
now.
you go. Yeah.
Um, so I'm kind of writing stuff all the time.
Good.
When I'm sitting down with my guitar, it's kind of, it's a different exercise than when I'm like writing ideas and playing with ideas in my book. But,
Sure.
when I did like during when the pandemic started and the lockdown started, I launched a live stream on Instagram that I did for about 4 years every Monday night called Musical Mondays. And on there, so that's when I'm saying I'm going to contradict myself because that was like scheduled writing time for me because I started doing, I would play my songs and like I'd have themed episodes. Like I do like cover song, or I do, okay, this week I'm going to do Sinead O'Connor songs, or this week I'm going to do protest songs, or this week I'm focused on my guitar pedals. But then I started to do live songwriting. So then I did have a scheduled thing. It's like, okay, Monday night, it's a short 20-minute episode, but I'm going to sit there and I'm going to work on this song.
Good
And
stuff.
whoever shows up to listen is welcome to peek behind the curtain.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah.
that was fun.
Do you tour, Kelly?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't gone further than the Rockies in the last, when was the last time I went to Southern Ontario and around, I think 2018 was the last time I did that.
Oh,
So
cool.
I've been staying fairly local on Vancouver Island here and through BC the last few years. And I'm just actually organizing a tour for July with my friend from Vancouver, Maddie Presidente, and we're doing like a double bill tour up and down Vancouver Island. So
That's nice.
that'll be super fun.
Yeah. I suppose that's the great part, and all my buddies and community that I have in the Ottawa Valley area, it is easy to kind of tour because sometimes you're just like you can do quite a few cities within a 2 hour drive, probably even or 3 hour drive for that matter.
Totally.
Yeah, that's the great part about being there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, today's music business to me is set up like a reality TV show. You know, one of those competition shows. You're set up to fail, and then if you can win, well then, ta-da! You get the big sucker at the end, I guess. and I'm trying to figure out what does winning look like in this business right now. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you have a picture of that?
Only for myself,
Yeah, and that's it. Eh? That's about all we can do. I mean, at one time it
I
was just
think.
here's a record contract and a gold record and all that fun stuff, and
Totally.
now it doesn't look like that at all, does it?
No, and I would say, back in the 1990s when I was fronting that indie band in Vancouver, that was the thing we were all chasing in that music scene was the record deal. And I remember it would be like, I forget the name of the conference. There was like an annual conference in Vancouver. It wasn't Music West. Maybe it was called Music West. Anyway, where the A&R reps would come and it would be all this thing. We'd all be buzzing around town, getting gigs and being like, hey, I had the Sony A&R rep at my show. So it was all the be all and end all was to get a record deal.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
remember some of the bands in my community back then did get record deals, and I don't know where they are today. They're definitely not still making music, not many of them. And I remember speaking to a few of them, and they had at the time some of them were starting young families and they had mortgages, and they really found it they really struggled with the record deal and the fact that the deal was that they were fronted this money to record an album, and
Mm-hmm.
then they had to tour like hell to pay it back, and that was a real struggle for them with managing a family or a day job. And yeah, so the dream of getting the record deal wasn't as good as it we all thought it was at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
now,
that's
I
agreed.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Couldn't
I don't know what people are chasing now, like to be influencers on TikTok. I don't know.
Oh, I hope not. That's a worse fate than being a musician.
I know, right? Well, I think of someone like Bjork, who's had like an astounding career of creation. As I've said, I forget which magazine it was, but she was quoted saying she thinks that streaming is the worst thing that's ever happened to music.
Yeah, yeah, that's about it. I couldn't agree
Yeah,
more. Yeah.
yeah,
Not that I'm a Bjork fan, but I couldn't agree more with that statement.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, what is it for you that kicks off a song as far as wanting to write it? What what is about
Mm.
what does one idea what I wish I could talk with this new mouth I just got. What's let's suppose what idea did you get in your head that goes that's a song as opposed to something else?
I love that question. I find that it's different for me. It can be just as you said, it could be an idea that I've been playing with and just kind of like ruminating in here, marinating, and then it comes out into a song. It could be like something I read or heard, like a podcast I'm listening to that is like on a topic, or just something that I'll hear, like a line that I'll hear. Like
Hmm.
I was listening to a podcast the other night, and they were talking about the speaker said body fascism, and I was like, oh,
Ooh.
like wow, like that idea kind of hooked in. So I immediately sat down and started writing, around that idea of body fascism in our culture. So it can be something like that. It can be like another song, or
Yeah.
like going out to a concert and seeing another artist and hearing their music and being inspired by the
Yeah.
sounds and the kind of the whole experience.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm turned on by things like, interesting sayings and stuff like that, and euphemisms. I guess that's where I pick my. I wrote a
Oh, I
song.
love that.
Yeah, I wanted to write a song about being between a rock and a hard place kind of thing,
Hmm.
but I went, well, that's just everybody knows that phrase, rock and a hard place. Oh, I know, between the hammer and the anvil, and
Nice.
that became the title. You know what I mean? So you go from there,
Okay.
kind of deal. Exactly.
Taking the metaphor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Something I noticed on your Bandcamp, you have a lot of remixes, and they're all
Yeah.
credited with somebody. Tell me, what's that all about? Like, this is the, I can't remember, such and such remix, and this is the such and such remix. And I'm going, okay, that's something I don't encounter very often, so I got to ask about it.
That's also something that happened in the pandemic.
Oh,
So,
okay.
when the lockdown started and we all went home and
Mm-hmm.
became very intimate with our phones and our screens, I started connecting with lots of other musicians, like across globally, like different places around the world. Just I don't know how. I think it was on Twitter and Instagram mostly. Um, the platform formerly known as Twitter, um, before it became a cesspool.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
and, I just started connecting with people. And that year, 2020, I was supposed to release an album and go on tour and do all kinds of things, but that all had to get put aside. So I was like, oh, well, I kind of want to keep doing stuff. So I started connecting with DJs and remixers,
Hmm.
and struck up some conversations and built some relationships. And they were like, hey, yeah, let's do a remix. So I just started releasing remixes and connected with some excellent people. Brent Jansen, who's he's from Vancouver. He does composing, or did composing for games.
Oh,
Um, he did a number of synthwave remixes for me, and now he's doing something totally different. He has this whole online presence through YouTube and Discord and these other tools, called Futurescapes, and he does like cinematic sci-fi ambient music. It's quite amazing stuff he's doing, and he's created
that's
this whole vibe and community around it.
yeah.
So going back to the kind of one of our first topics that we were touching on, I think something like he's doing could be a future of music, because I got how many followers he has now, but it's a lot,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
his music and videos get a lot of traction on YouTube. So I just started connecting with people, and I
Cool.
loved the results so much that I've done a lot of them. You
Oh,
know,
that's awesome. Yeah, yeah. There's
yeah,
quite a
with
few there.
different people.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's a great way to keep things fresh, I guess, in that respect.
yeah, and I'm like, I guess you'd call me an indie
Yeah.
folk rock singer songwriter, and to have this other side to my catalog that's dance music or synthwave music or dark wave is I don't know, I love that.
Cool. There you go. Kelly, what's the next big thing going on for you?
Oh, yeah. So I've got a tour coming up in the summer.
Good.
I'm going to be finishing recording an album this year.
Yep.
Um, so hopefully I'll put that out later this year or maybe early next year. Um, I am releasing a full album of remixes in early May. So,
Nice.
so speaking of remixes, so those are some big things I have going on that I'm really looking forward to.
Outstanding. Tell the folks
Yeah.
where they can find out more about Kele Fleming and where your socials and websites and all that are.
Yeah, you bet. The best place to find out and kind of track what I'm doing is on Patreon these
Ah,
days.
yes.
So I run a subscription service there, and I've democratized the tiers so people can pay and support me if they want to, but if they subscribe to the free tier on my Patreon, they get everything that everybody else does. So just I send out like a newsletter or like a weekly post,
Hmm.
usually weekly from there, and I share new music there before I share it anywhere else and announce things there and kind of share things I'm thinking about and that kind of thing. I mean, I do have a website, kellyfleming.com, but really Patreon is the place where I'd love to engage with people. And then social media, which I've been much less active on these days. Probably Instagram is the most
Yeah. Yeah.
active place I am.
Yeah. There you
Yeah.
go. I
Not
find
sure how much longer I'll be there, but we'll see.
Threads I find is just getting a little too angry for my liking.
It is, hey? I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Same
Yeah,
with
I stopped
Facebook.
posting there. What's that?
Same with Facebook.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just not cool places for me anymore.
Not at all. There you go.
Yeah,
Kele Fleming, thank you so much for coming on the program, and I really
you
appreciate it.
bet.
All
Thanks so
righty.
much for having me. Great to talk to you.
Same here. Thank you.